I think it's straightening out. I think it's straightening out. I think we have a little surface. It's straighter, but there's a little taper right at the very back, not all the way down. I'm going to grab a regular mic and a telescoping gauge and recheck recheck that way too. So, what our readings are all telling us that so far we have 2 thousandths removed. Brush. At the front.
On the back?
Right here is 2 thousandths also. At the very back, we've only removed 1.
Oh.
So it's not a consistent taper all the way down.
That's curious.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking it may clear up. It may be a little bit of a surface hardening from whatever tooling they used before. You run carbide tooling, we're taking almost nothing, and your carbide tool will actually harden your part some. So, yeah. And also, if we've only got a band this big that's not correct, we can work that with a flapper wheel by hand. It's not my most favorite way to do things, but we can. Kind of an interesting thing they've got if you have a crankshaft grinder, they have a tool that actually will roll on the crankshaft while you're grinding it. So it'll give you a readout telling you what the size of your part is while you're changing the size. Pretty slick.
That is cool.
There's some problems with it because of grit and wear and whatever, but it's a help. It's definitely a help. One thing that should make this lathe more accurate than the other one, but I'm not convinced, the gap that this section here of the lathe bed bolts in. So you can remove that for bigger pieces up next to your chuck. The other lathe, that's been unbolted before. On this one, it never has.
Okay.
And since we have the other lathes, the rule is we don't unbolt this one. Because they just very seldom set in there exactly like they were from the factory. It's just that when they initially bolted in to make the whole lathe, if it's never been out, then you find out that there's a manufacturer that takes them all out after they grind them to have a kid deburr them and kick them around a little bit to see if they still go back in. Then comes another question, of course. If we get done with this in saving time, people ask, well, you going to charge them less? Well, it was a bid. It was a bid to do a job, so no, we're not going to charge them less. And actually, this particular customer has a very persnickety purchasing department that if you charge them less, they get upset just as much as if you charge them too much. They don't want to change numbers. They want to know what's going to happen, they're ready to pay it, and that's the way it is. You will annoy them if you decrease their bill. Now, that should never be told to management, because upper management is going to say, what? It's the way the system works. If you do, and maybe they're not mad, maybe it just seems that way when they ask me, why was this less? Quick, but it's not what you quoted us. Okay, I'm sorry. So, yeah. Anyway, the first time I heard that from one of the other contractors in town, I was kind of like, are you serious? Yeah, really. And when they say, they want an estimate, they mean quote. That's another thing, this particular company. It's just they want a quote. Doesn't matter if they say estimate, they want a quote. So keep that in mind. That's actually measuring more straight with the direct measurement. Might have to buy myself a better bore gauge. Okay. Oh, there's a little taper. We're going to take a cut and we're going to try using the artistic method. We will run it in a little bit partway through the bore. Out a little, I guess. Which, yeah, means that next time, say that, I don't know, that's kind of a problems with that too. You just want everything to come out perfect, whether it will or not. Well. That is one of the advantages with a CNC in this position, because you can measure this, possibly even probe it, and so you probe on the machine with a fancier, newer one. It will come in here and it'll measure what the diameter is, and then on the next cut it'll say, I don't care where I should be, I'm going to make up for what the diameters were last time. So it will move, because a CNC doesn't just say, here's the axis I'm going to move. It is programmed in, and that a lot of them are really made pretty sloppy, where this has to be made true. A CNC, a lot of times, it may move 3/1000ths as you go along this line, but it's programmed into the control to make up for that 3/1000ths movement. And then if there's a part that is coming out wrong, it will again move whatever it needs to make up for that part. And so, you know, there's points in them. There is. They're also finicky pigs that'll totally let you down because they say, my battery went dead. Or they won't say anything because their battery is dead. That is the lack of read-only memory to let them know what they are all the time is the biggest downfall. And I don't know how bad the newest ones are, because, you know, newer personal computers are better that way too. You don't have your BIOS battery going dead all the time and, oh no, I'm not a computer anymore. That used to be a real problem. Trying to avoid it. There's just a whole lot more time and work, and if this is coming close to working, so with a little caressing, we should get there. Huh?
Chattering at all?
No.
What do you guys have issues with?
Little taper. That's why I just squeaked it forward. It's a little smaller on the end.
Really?
Yep.
From the factory?
No, from us.
Oh.
It's boring smaller. This lathe is probably not as straight as the one that's 25 years old.
You probably could,
And I had a job that I did for this same customer one time that was ran over by about 20,000 as far as labor and materials. So, you know, you bid a job, you bid a job. It was a $12,000 job. It took me $32,000 to do it. Well, it's my problem. So you win some, and then others, they're just there. Says we're almost on size at the start of it, and we're about 3/4 tight at the back. Yep, that is the conference. I thought about giving it a little bit more as I was going along to make up for the taper a little closer to what would make sense, but I just didn't want to risk it and gouge in.
Yeah.
If I had been doing that all along, it would be different. But we have an annoying friend. Yes, an annoying friend. Remember how our key was an annoyance where we couldn't hone it, and I said it would let us back out without messing with our tool?
Yeah.
It'll also let us go back into the middle of our cut where we were. I had a boss many years ago, one place. He would come up while I was doing something really critical, and he'd come up and put his hand on the carriage. I was just seeing you leaning on the lathe, and I was thinking about that. I just, So I learned certain jobs I just didn't do, and he wanted to come and talk all the time. And he was a premier automotive machinist who then had moved into general machining. And there were things he was just fascinated with that I would do, and so he wanted to get close and watch, and we got along. Friends many years later. He passed away a year ago, but but it was interesting sometimes when he would come up and lean on part of my machine, and I'm just like, no, please don't. Since he was the boss, he could only say that so many times. Yeah, I should have put the gearbox in gear before I got it into position for the keyway, or backed it out to reposition it. Trying to get it in when because I didn't want to turn it to where it was starting to take a cut. And then there's the aging with some jobs. So this job, we only got the purchase order yesterday morning. So it shouldn't be finished until later today, even if it is done. Because even though it's all okay to get it done sooner, and the customer is generally happy in this case to have his part sooner, it doesn't always, as much as I don't think these people, they're not going to care. They'd actually be happy. But a lot of customers wouldn't like it. And the common one, years ago, we used to straighten three-wheeler axles. So that was a while ago. You can imagine our liability insurance providers, fine, straighten three-wheeler axles, no big deal. Three-wheeler, four-wheeler, whatever, it's just a thing. nobody cared in those days. Three-wheelers were not this dangerous. We'd actually, and they get bent all the time, running through the trees, and they were normally solid axles, pretty small. They'd hit a tree, and it'd put about a 4-inch bend on it. If you were going to straighten those axles and just put them in a press, roll around, you're going to spend 45 minutes straightening this thing, fussing with it. We had a fixture set up with some really nice little V's and indicators built on it. We could straighten it in less than 5 minutes. Get it just A1. And because we had spent a whole week building this fancy fixture, we didn't feel bad about a standard charge straightening a three-wheeler axle, as long as it was within range where we figured it could be straightened. It was 3/4 of an hour charge. That's what it was. But someone comes in and, could you do it right away? I'll have it for you in 3 hours. I'll have it for you. You don't dare have it right away, because if you actually have it right away, then they go back and tell their friends how they got ripped off because he charged me $50 and it was done in 2 minutes, which sometimes you did get it down to 2 minutes. No, you come out to the shop, you straighten the axle, you set it aside, and you let it age. Good parts should always be aged so they have the proper color and feel and smell to the customer. Yeah, I do. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It's reading exactly the same all the way down now. Maybe a quarter difference, but not anything that we're actually concerned about. My real uh-oh would be a whole lot worse. I have a phony uh-oh. Austin's seen it many times, I know, because it's just me. But my real uh-oh is I fall to the ground and I go, oh, no, I feel like I've been kicked into, yeah, no. We really screw up something like this. Yeah, no, it's a whole different attitude in my part.
I don't remember what it was we were doing. But there was a moment where you were like, oh, we read the thing wrong, and it was just, oh, fuck. And he was like, wait. And then we like checked it again, and it was actually fine, and it was just like, something was like wrong with the indicator or something.
Calipers are the ones that do that the most. So many of these calipers have a software glitch, and you may have seen that already, Bert, where they jump 200 thousandths.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to keep, if it's off by 200 thousandths, let's re-zero this and take a look at it.
My favorite part is when you get a 4-inch long caliper or a 6-inch long caliper and you play it at 12 inches. You're like, how the fuck does this scale like what?
Oh, that one 12-inch keeps coming in at 56, 72. Yeah. That one is just, it's wacky. No, it wasn't a Fowler. But
I don't know what that means in caliper.
it's actually, the caliper works fine, I found, as long as you turn it on and leave it for 5 minutes, then it'll work fine.
Yeah,
But the first, it doesn't matter, new batteries, old batteries, but the first little bit, if you go to try and use it in the first 5 minutes, it'll keep flashing 25 inches, 72, 86. Well, this one confirms it too. There's one little spot where I'm off about 2/10,000ths of an inch, but it's okay. It's okay. They can, but they won't bother. No, but they will check us. They will check us. They do want to see that it is 6, and not 7, and not 5. That it's, yeah, no. We started out, we set this one at 2, and it's now reading 2 here, which is the other direction, so that's 4 less than the 2 we started at. Another spot right here, that's actually just slightly under. That one's dead on again. Slightly 2/10 under is right in the middle. Well, not in the middle, it's in the middle from the middle. About right here, one little band about 1/4 of an inch long.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine. Oh, yeah, we should. I think we should have a standard video closer, but this is, yeah, I know. Like all the other guys say, subscribe. Love our channel. Ring the bell. That's the like button. What's the other one? Like, subscribe. What's the other one? Oh, forward. Yeah, go on Face World or Space Cadet or wherever and give links to some of our videos so more people get to know how wonderful we are. Yeah, thanks.